Howdy, folks. Author Crazy Uncle Matt Spencer here. Welcome to my first attempt at a video broadcast. And first of all, I just want to say that I hope all of you out there watching this are staying safe, healthy, relatively sane, generally not dead during these trying times, although if you're watching this and you are dead, then that just shows real dedication, and you're my favorite kind of fan, and I love you so much. Anyhow, some of you may be aware, I've recently had a book be released, The Trail of the Beast. It's the second book in my Deschembine trilogy, the first of which is The Night in the Land. And so, kind of, if you just started reading the first book, some spoilers here. But anyway, this isn't a new book that just came out exactly. It was in print before, and now it's back in print. And today, I'm going to be reading you all an excerpt from it. And if this goes over well, I might continue to do this periodically. So here goes from the chapter entitled Pittsburgh, subchapter 2. They came in with their black blades drawn, which didn't surprise him. What surprised him was how calm they all acted. None of them moved like pumped-up thugs spoiling for a fight, but they were all sure as hell ready for one. They all stared at him with murder in their eyes, expecting that fight to come from him. Because of course they are, he thought. Fuck you, Pottergong. Rob kept expecting his nerves to give out. That didn't happen. Instead, he kept sitting relaxed like he had been. A wild, fluttery detachment settled through him as he looked them over. Not all of them bore blades. A few held what looked like hammers, or even crude or bludgeoning shapes. No two weapons of the black metal were alike, he now saw, any more than the Crimbone who wielded them. He had yet to spot another Crimbone sporting more than one weapon, nor any sword so ornately sculpted as his. There weren't as many as he'd expected, either, not even enough to fill the conference table. Each stood proud and rugged, scarred and wild-haired, clothes tattered and slept in. Most wore some long garment to hide their weapons in the streets. Everything from black leather trench coats to old-time waistcoats, or dusters like his own. So maybe the city out there was big enough to tolerate such eccentricities, even in the summer. Not that any of them let the heat bother them. It wouldn't be their clothes that stood out, but the proud, fierce animal elegance of their movements. Alone, any one of them might have blended in among whatever earth-line rabble where they found a temporary home. Collectively, some primordial elegance pulsated throughout the pack, something not simply animalistic, but downright other than human, something only the lands themselves could ever truly own. Rob felt that same essence pulsating throughout his own being, tickling his own human consciousness. No one looked too surprised to see the milquetoast businessman slumped over his papers, minus a head. The eviscerated bodies in the hallway had probably set the wrong tone. Either way, they'd all dealt with that by the time they came through the door. Rob stood proud and drew both blades. None of them were prepared for that sight. He felt less prepared for it than them. These were his kind, that was a fact. He'd never expected to see so many in one place. Their world was the life he'd missed out on for too many years. Their eyes told stories he couldn't read. Some of them cast glances at each other. How many silent signals might they be sending each other about him with just a look like that? Once he opened his mouth, he would have 5 seconds or less to hook them with whatever he said. If he couldn't, they'd rush him in a single body and chop him to bits. He didn't choose his words at all, or at least that's how it felt. These are the same blades Magur Savai wielded in the old world. These lands have sent them to me. Take a good long look. Take a swim in the memories that live in your blood, the deepest, oldest, truest memories, and tell me otherwise. The oldest and the deepest, huh? Growled someone from the crowd. Kid, I really hope you bullshitting. Seriously, man. There's a reason they teach you to stay off trails such as your. Who? Who teaches you that bullshit? Not these lands, not to the Crimbone. I guarantee you that. Come on, you must have heard all the horror stories by now. Me save you some trouble. They're all true. The lands of this world gave me the blades of Magur Savai. He hardly recognized the voice coming out of his own mouth. It was like when he drew breath to speak, the air met something alien in his lungs, combusting in the core of him, so it roared up his throat like a long dormant, freshly awoken volcano. The longer he stood to it, the quicker his frame adapted to it, and the more he liked it. Now I'm on the trail that the lands have opened before me with my blades drawn. Nice to see so many of you showed up with yours drawn, too. Whatever was coming out of him with these words, it was as real as the blades in his fists. He saw in every eye present that they felt it too. It hadn't cowed that first dissenting speaker, though. You hold the blades of Magur Savai. That doesn't tell me shit about how well you use them. Rob met the eyes of the dark man in the back. The guy wouldn't physically challenge him now, but he planned to at some point. Wait, how did I just get all that just from a look? Anyway, he kept looking and said, You all came through that hallway, saw what I left there. What do you think? This city, said another. The land on which this city stands. It spoke to us all, told us you were here to come meet you. It even hinted, now I think about it, that you might be a high natural. I didn't hear shit about the heir to Magur Savai. The heir to Magur Savai is the high natural. Come on if you doubt it. Rob gave the challenger a silent minute. Then he growled, I am the rightful bearer of these blades, as I am the rightful voice to you, the Crimbone, of the will of these lands, just as we must be the enforcers of that will. This headless, dickless fuck lying here, his sort, feed you a diluted translation of that voice, and you've let them till now. My Crimbone brethren, you've been guided by the antiquated echo of a past voice, while spirelights drug the lands that should be home to us all, so their gods can rape those lands in their sleep. Magur Savai freed our ancient ancestors from the tyranny of the Spirelites. I come to free you from the oppression you've placed upon yourselves. If you would hear and heed the land's true voice, the voice that would bring you freedom, then follow me. If you would challenge the blades of Magur Savai, come take them from me now. The feeling of their response had flowed back to him as he spoke, further igniting his oration. Veins bulged in his neck and forehead. He drew deep, growling breaths, trying to calm down. Their devastated silence, the the fire he fanned in their eyes, only sent him higher. From the pack walked a woman. Her weapon looked like a shimmering black meat hook, curved sharply in all the right places like her body, except hammered into straight lines everywhere else. At a glance, the weapon didn't look practical for combat, but Rob suspected this had never been a problem for her. Dark reddish brown hair hung like the shoots of a hanging basket plant around her bronzed face. Her green eyes were those of a hungry fox. She wore no long coat to hide her weapon, just black jeans and a black tank top that was too small on her. She'd been no less affected by him, he sensed, had maybe felt it the strongest, for those wild, almost alien eyes bespoke the strongest mind among them. But she bore it better. Hopefully, he wouldn't have to kill her. She slung herself into the chair at the head of the conference table and spun it to face him. If anyone else in the room had seen her smirk, Rob would probably have been dead. Yep, she said. Those look like the blades of Magur Savai, all right. Least from the pictures I've seen in the secret books. Sure, I'll follow the blades. I'll follow you till you fuck up. So, what are we following you to? She batted her eyelashes. If you don't mind me asking, I mean. Recalling how he'd ended up here, Rob wanted to strangle Puttergong. He'd tried that once and had the scars on his face to prove it. Still, he couldn't shake the something the creature had said more recently. Once a Crimbone High Natural gets where he's going, ain't no one gonna give you shit for your choice in women. Trust me. Still thinking of Sally, he met his challenger's gorgeous green eyes like a brick wall. Nah, sure, you can ask. You'll find out when we get there. Soon as I find out myself, he might have added. What's your name, girl? Remelia. Remelia, this pack will obey me as they would the will of the old lords themselves, and that includes you. When for whatever reason I can't be consulted, they'll obey you as they would me. If you ever abuse that honor, I'll kill you. So basically, I'm your second in command. Sure. And here I woke up figuring this'd be a dull day. Sounds fun. What's your name, by the way? Rob. Remelia's smile broadened. Rob, I'll do whatever you tell me as long as you bear those blades well. The second I think I see you fumble with them, you'd best be ready to kill me. Like you said, sounds fun. She grinned and turned back to the rest of the crowd. With the easy authority of someone with actual street cred as a leader around here, she howled with berserk joy. Hear that, boys and girls? I'm his second in command. Let's give the heir to Magur Savai a shot in the dark, huh? She moved right up next to Rob. He felt her fingers dance along his spine. She breathed in his ear. Better be handsome. In case you didn't notice, I just saved your ass.